Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 14, entitled The Forest of Enjoyment, Text 17. And we're dealing with prose here, so we're doing without the board, so I'll just read the translation. Sometimes the conditioned soul imagines that his father or grandfather has again come in the form of his son or grandson. In this way, he feels the happiness one sometimes feels in a dream, and the conditioned soul sometimes take pleasure in such mental concoctions. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki. Due to ignorance of the real existence of the Lord, the conditioned soul imagines many things. Influenced by fruitive activities, he comes together with his relatives, fathers, sons, and grandfathers, exactly as straws gather together in a moving stream. In a moment, the straws are thrown temporarily with many other conditions. No way. In a moment, the straws are thrown everywhere and they lose contact. In conditional life, the living entity is temporarily with many other conditioned souls. They gather together as family members, and the material affection is so strong that even after a father or grandfather passes away, one takes pleasure in thinking that they return to the family in different forms. Sometimes this may happen, but in any case, the conditioned soul likes to take pleasure in such concocted thoughts. Om Ajnana Timmirandasya Janandana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, the forest of enjoyment. Sounds nice. You're in nature. You're enjoying. So, what's the problem? Like Prabhupada says here, the soul likes to take, conditioned soul likes to take pleasure in such concocted thoughts. So that's the idea, that one is in illusion and therefore not seeing reality. So we are jivas, meaning we're very small. We are the marginal potency of the Lord, means that there is no such thing for us as complete realization. Self-realization, yes, but complete realization, that's only for Krishna. So the question is, what kind of illusion are we in? We can be in either connected with Krishna in illusion, Yogamaya, or disconnected with Krishna, Mahamaya. So this has different levels, described in Bhagavad Gita 13.5 by Srila Prabhupada as the Panchakosha, the 5 coverings of the conditioned soul. So the first covering is Anandamaya, which is Anandamaya. That is the lightest of the coverings. That is Yogamaya, the connection with Krishna in the spiritual world. So below that, we can get more covered, which means we have Vijnanamaya, the level of realization of the soul as distinct from matter. We get more covered. We have Manamaya or Jnanamaya, which is the covering of the intelligence. And more covering still becomes Vijnanamaya, the covering of the mind, the emotions. And then at the bottom of the pile, we have 50 feet of dirt, and then we have Anamaya, which basically means animal consciousness. This is the consciousness of the senses. What can my senses perceive? And that's it. So As we get bewildered in this forest of enjoyment, we start to move down through these layers. And what is described here in text 17 is pranamoy, the fourth out of the 5 coverings, which has to do with family members, because emotions and attachments, this is what the consciousness of this level are usually directed at something that we identify with, and family is very, very much something that we identify with. Other examples could be country. Maybe if you have a certain type of job, you would identify with others who have that type of job. So in this way, prana means the life force, so you're identifying with the life force in others. So that's why we have this rather interesting reaction that you see that a grandfather leaves his body, and then you have a son or a grandson, and you imagine that this is the same person, simply due to attachment. That's the problem when we are dealing with Mahamaya. The mind has become stronger than the intelligence, and that means that the attachments take prominence over the actual reality of things. So we will be attached to our family members, and then we will use the intelligence to justify that attachment. So my father had a big nose, so probably when he died he was thinking that he wishes he had a small nose, and my son has such a small nose, that's my father. It's perfectly logical, it just has nothing to do with reality. So this is what is happening in these lower modes, in these more covered states, is that we find some kind of logic to justify our attachments. Excuse me. So for this, we take shelter. Always something goes wrong in the material world, so when something goes wrong, we take shelter. And what do we take shelter of? At the lowest level, the anamai, we just take shelter of the senses. So whatever I can enjoy with my senses, that is what I will go for. This is a big problem because we're not the controller and the enjoyer, so there will always be some shortage. The senses are always active, so they're never satisfied, which means that they will go on demanding. And as soon as the senses lose contact of the sense objects, the experience is over, like that. So that doesn't work very well. It's very purifying, but unfortunately intelligence is also not working very well, so you need a lot of purification on this level. So that goes on. On the pranamoy level, where we are discussing here, we call that extended sense gratification. So we are enjoying through other senses, family members, countrymen, whatever. And that experience can go on because you can relate to an experience for the rest of your life. This is the cliche of back in college when we did all these crazy wild things. You can go on tasting that in the mind for forever. I mean, not forever, of course, but as long as this body lasts. So it seems like it's a bona fide thing. Unfortunately, these people have a tendency to leave their body. As we say, the mortality rate is 100%. So then this concocted idea comes up to maintain this attachment, we have to project it somewhere else, and that becomes the son or the grandson. Above that, we would seek in the manamoy, jnanamoy level, we would seek the shelter of our intelligence in the form of religious activities, or religion in some sense. We're not necessarily thinking about religion in a spiritual sense, but at least in a sense of connecting with something more. You have the realization of Dharma is on this level. So you have some kind of realization that there's something bigger going on here than me. On the level of pranamoy here with the family members, you want them to be happy, but it's basically only because they make you happy. I love the way you make me feel. So it's still self-centered. And on Manamoy, that doesn't last anymore, because the realization, the consciousness is now so uncovered that there is an acceptance and a realization that, wait a minute, I'm not actually doing all these things that are going on. There must be some sort of higher principle at work. Whatever it may be, some higher principle is at work, because it's not totally random what happens. I'm not in control, so there must be some other kind of set of rules, right? Dharma means there is a proper way of doing things. You use the toothbrush to brush your teeth and the paintbrush to paint your walls, not the other way around. You can, and that's usually something that people enjoy in the West, is switching these things. An artist will paint only with the toothbrush or with some weird things because we're at the lower levels, right? But here it's actually an acceptance and an understanding that there is actually a proper way to do things, and if I follow that, then my life will work out much more nicely. And then going back up to Vijnanamoy, there is also a realization that, wait a minute, I'm here, but everything keeps changing, so I must be different from matter. The realization of the soul. And then finally, on top of that is the realization, the real realization of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And taking shelter of Krishna obviously will give you the eternal benefit, and that is our proper constitutional position in life. So the other four are samsara. That's the wheel of life. The pious person is doing well, he is detached and everything is working out nicely, and he becomes attached to that nice situation. And then he starts to feel, wait a minute, I'm actually doing pretty good. Look at that guy here over there, he's a nonsense. And I'm actually getting so nice results, and I'm doing pretty well. And then the piety kind of stops because the false ego grows on that. And then you start to be, greed develops, so you start to hanker more, and the passion comes from that, and you start to go down, and suddenly you're getting the more gross reactions of your absent piety. And before you know it, you're on the bottom of the pile. That's why we say Maya, she covers and then she throws. She covers you with false ego, and then she throws you into the gutter, and you wake up there, what happened, you know? And then you figure out, okay, whatever I was doing, it's not working. Maybe I should just sit back a little, think about this, what am I actually doing wrong? And you start to treat people better, because you see, I'm actually not that great. And the piety comes back, and you start to get good reactions, you get up again, and suddenly you have a job, and you have a family, and it's going very nice, you get the promotion, and the whole thing is very beautiful again, and you start to think, wait a minute, I'm doing pretty good. So that just goes round and round and round, because you're not being drawn out. You only can be drawn out if you have a higher principle, that principle obviously being Krishna. So love of God will drag us out of this samsara. The way we get in is because love of God only makes sense if there is an option of not loving God. Love has no meaning if it's the only option. It only has meaning if we choose it, right? So, unfortunately, a few of us chose badly. That option, inherent option in the spirit soul of Purusha Bhav, the idea that I'm the controller and enjoyer, some of us choose that. We look at Krishna and we say, wow, that looks funny, what he's doing, that looks great, and let me see if I can do that. And then that Purusha Bhav develops. But because we have no contamination at that point, we can kind of get away with it, so we become Brahma. And he's pretty good at creating and controlling, so then that covers us, and we start this descending process. The whole cosmic manifestation is a facility for us to reform ourselves. Krishna expands as Mahavishnu, who glances as Sadashiva, and that hits the Pradhan, which is the Brahmajyoti, which then gets agitated and transforms into the Mahat, where you have all the material elements, and then you have the false ego. The difference between pradhan is just the qualities of Krishna. There's no false ego. There's just, brahmajyoti. It's just a glance, or it's just an effulgence of Krishna. So we say that when we see Krishna's effulgence, that's the pradhan, that's the brahmajyoti. But when you add a little false ego and the jivas, then it becomes mahat, then it separates and it becomes distinct. There are different qualities. You add a little more false ego and then you get intelligence. And then you add a little more false ego, then you get the mind. A little more false ego, then you get the senses, starting with ether, which can be which can contain sound, which we can hear with our ears. And add a little more false ego, then you get air, which can be felt through the touch. And then you add more false ego, then you get the element of form, as in fire, which you can perceive with your eyes. You add more false ego, you get water, which can be tasted with the tongue, and you add, finally, more false ego, and you get the compact maximum amount of false ego in earth, which can be smelled with the nose. And it just doesn't go any further than that. So this whole thing is divided into three energies that are governing this, this whole cosmic manifestation, which is, it tastes of false ego. That's the whole thing, it's false ego in different degrees. That's actually what the elements are. So there is dravya and kriya and jnana. Dravya just means matter. That's the earth matter. And kriya means the creative, active principle. And jnana means knowledge of how things are operating. So these correspond with, of course, the three modes of material nature. Dravya meaning ignorance, because that's just the heavy, dense matter. Kriya meaning passion, because it's the activity, something is happening, results are being gained. And jnana meaning goodness, because there is some kind of realization of what is actually the principles behind this. We get attracted to the dravya because that is false ego. We are in here because of false ego, so that is attracted by false ego. So if we see materially successful people, what is the example of their success? Why do we say that they're successful? It's because of the car, it's because of the clothes, it's because of boat, or whatever these things. That's the dravya. That's what we identify material success as. The kriya and the jnana are used to get that dravya. So that's the problem. We're pointing in the wrong direction. We're using our intelligence and our piety to get this material energy, which is, bottom line, false ego. So it doesn't work. It breaks down because it's temporary, it's dead matter, it doesn't generate anything. And then what do? Well, finally we will turn around. It's just a matter of how far do we go down before we realize that. So we need knowledge, not just material knowledge, but actually transcendental knowledge. In fact, there is only transcendental knowledge. There is transcendental knowledge, and then there's covered transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge covered by false ego. That's what we call material knowledge. Because, I mean, the car works the same if a devotee is driving it or a karmi is driving it. It's not, the mechanics don't change, but what's the point? That changes because of the false ego. So if you're a devotee, you're going to the temple because you want to take darshan of the Lord and please Krishna, Haribol. You're a karmi, you want to go to the job because you can make a lot of money and get a big house and some fancy women. Not so good. The car is going to take you there, but what's the destination? That's vastly different. Because one destination is going down into the forest of enjoyment, and then the other destination will be up towards the spiritual, the actual uncovered happiness, which of course is eternal because it's not conditioned by the material modes. So we have to figure out, how do we gain knowledge? We have three methods. There is prajaksha, through the senses. There is anuman, through intelligence and logic. And then there is shabda, through authority. And This is where the karmi world and the devotee world oppose directly. There is no room for compromise here. We say Shabda is the authority, it is the proper way of gaining knowledge, and the materialist will say that Prajaksha, the sense perception, is the real way of gaining knowledge. So these are opposed. Anuman, you can say it's a way of gaining knowledge, but ultimately it has to lean on either the senses or authority. Because logic, you have to feed it with something in order to work. So where do you get that? It has to come from somewhere. It doesn't just magically appear. So it has to be fed from either the senses or some kind of authority. So we take Shastra, Guru Sadhu Shastra. We feed that into the Anuman, into the logic, and we use that to apply it in our life, into time, place, and circumstances. And then by what we see, we can see if we're doing good or not so good by if it's corresponding with what we want to achieve. The materialist, he sees something, he manipulates with it, and he uses his logic on that, and then supposedly he becomes the authority on what just happened. But we have some defects. I mean, we're in illusion, we're covered, we don't know everything that's going on. We make mistakes, and we have imperfect senses, and worst of all, we have the cheating propensity, because when we're in illusion, we have, as I was saying before, we have this thing with the mind that is becoming very strong and has hankering and attachment, so there's always some kind of result we want. Not so long ago, a research scientist from Copenhagen University, I'm studying there also, she was kicked out because it was found out that she had forged many of her results. She had gotten literally millions in funds for her research, and she was driving a fancy car, and she was being interviewed for the news and everything. And she just made it up, you know, because the results she was getting was not corresponding with what she wanted. And it was not that which she had set out to achieve. So she just made it up, you know. So first the university says, oh, no, it can't be. And then they said, oh, well, maybe it is. And then, of course, they fired her, and now everything is back to normal. It's, you know, nobody thinks about that anymore. And nobody's thinking, it seems like, wait a minute, maybe this is an all-pervading principle in this sphere, you know. I know people who have submitted an interview where actually instead of an interview there was Mexican salsa music, just because it was just an hour before they had it, Mexican salsa music. It was an hour before they had to submit the paper, and they didn't have the interview, they never made it, so they just submitted Mexican salsa music and wrote interviewed that date, and nobody ever checked it, you know, and they passed. So this is how it actually works, you know. It seems like fine when you look on paper, you do the research and you experiment and you get the results, and then, but in actuality, that's not how it is. This is Shabda. This is authority. This Bhagavatam. This is only eternal principles, and it has been tested through times by literally hundreds of millions, if not billions, of Vaishnavas, who have all achieved self-realization by following what is in here. And there is no sense of possession, and there is no sense of ownership of the Bhagavatam, because it is transcendental. That's why it works. The reason we are in trouble is because we have false ego. That means ignorance. That means we see the world upside down. That means that what we're trying to do to get out, that's what gets us in. So you have this attachment to family. It's interesting to see that just 3 verses back, text 14, it says, in this material world, when the conditioned soul cannot arrange for his own maintenance, despite exploiting others, he tries to exploit his own father or son, taking away that relative's possessions, although they may be very insignificant. If he cannot acquire things from his father or son or other relatives, he's prepared to give them all kinds of trouble. So when they're there, we don't respect them, and when they're gone, we miss them so much that we make up some kind of story that they're still here. That's material consciousness. It doesn't matter where we are, we want something else. So this is the feminine nature in ignorance. That's actually what it is. We are, by tattva, we are feminine because we are, compared to Krishna, we are dependent on Krishna. That's the feminine principle. But when we apply that on matter, it gets reversed. We should apply it on Krishna, so we should become spiritual. That's why when we're in the material world, the tattva, or the masculine principle, becomes prominent. Does that make sense? We have to set aside the rasa because we are in illusion, so we have to make sure that we understand correctly what is on these pages. That's the masculine principle. And then when we have achieved that, we will be able to obtain our true identity as feminine compared to Krishna, because we have realized that we're feminine. We still think we're masculine, that's why we act in the opposite. So, so the idea is that we should follow the Shabda and not our own tiny brain, because what the brain comes up with is very faulty. And Vedanta is the only way to do that. Any other philosophy has some working principles, and these working principles are also found in Vedanta. And then there are other principles that are not working. So, say like Buddhism, there's some similarity with the Vaishnava way of doing things, and understanding that we're not the body, that these material hankerings and possessions, these will bind us instead of liberating us. But the prime weakness that got us into this whole material world in the first place is still there. This Purusha Bhav, this idea that I'm in control, is still there because it's just an attachment to detachment. By my meditation, I will reach this state of nirvana, and by removing the material, I will be happy. So there's no real service attitude. So that's why it gets a little bit funny. Last year I met a Buddhist, and I was staying in an apartment because I was preparing for some exams. So I was just staying there studying. Krishna arranged very nicely. And for a few days, a Buddhist would stay in that apartment also. So he was very interested. He was from Hong Kong. And so he was asking, I was chanting, meditation. Oh, so nice, so nice. He was very nice. And so, okay, we talked a little bit. Yes, he was a Buddhist, and what's his name? And oh, my name Hunter, because my name in Mandarin can mean either hunter or hunted, and naturally I want to be a hunter. So that was his explanation, that it could mean either being hunted or hunter, and naturally he wanted to be the hunter. So I was just thinking for myself silently that it's funny how you have a doctrine there's only one doctrine in Buddhism, that's ahimsa, non-violence, and he chooses to be the hunter. So maybe we can see that not always is the application of Buddhism very thorough. We see the application of Vaishnavism usually is quite thorough. We get up early, we chant Hare Krishna, we try to do it in somewhat of a pure consciousness, and we attend the morning programs. I mean, we are actually hyper-religious compared to, isn't it? Imagine a Christian person doing the sadhana that we are doing. I mean, so there's also some nonsense going on, there's always, but we're doing some pretty hardcore sadhana compared to the rest of the world. I was just in Ter Kadamba, the place outside Vrindavan. I was staying with a couple of Babajis there, very nice devotees, but they're Babajis, they don't have any sadhana. They were looking, I was chanting like a lot of rounds during those days, and they were looking at me like, what is he doing? You know, because they're sitting with the bead bag, but I didn't hear them utter one mantra. They're in one sense, they're pure devotees, because they don't do anything that's not related to Krishna. It's all Krishna. But they're not doing any sadhana, and it becomes a little easy, you know. It becomes a little sentimental. So we, especially those of us who are from the West, we're very conditioned to the lower modes. We're doing exceptionally well. So this whole Buddhism, it's supposed to be on the Vijnanamoy of realizing the soul, but actually it's on the very low level at Anamoy, just realizing the senses. I later found out this Buddhist from Hong Kong, he was actually on a gay cruise in Kobe. You know, so it's just the application of this Buddhism is just non-existent, you know. And yeah, anyway. So Vedanta is valuable, or the value of Vedanta is realized in its application. That's all we have to do, is to give up our own idea and check with the Bhagavatam what we're doing. Can I trace it back to the Bhagavatam? Because everything is in there. Reality is the Bhagavatam. That's what it is. And then time, place, and circumstance means Guru and Sadhu, right? We have authority in two ways. Guru, because he is the direct authority, and he can tell us the things that we don't see ourselves. And then the Sadhus, because they are in different circumstances and they have somewhat realized the absolute truth and can give us some feedback on our own situation. So in this way we make sure that we're not being overcome by Maya. It's said that Maya is 4 times as strong as we are. It doesn't matter how much we go to the gym, she's still 4 times as strong. So we need to be connected. Otherwise we'll just get covered and thrown into the forest of enjoyment. And then we have to get out again, right? So that is why we are using the Bhagavatam and not some other scripture, because the Bhagavatam is 100% from start to end about pure devotional service. We should all at least have a hankering to try and experience the world through the consciousness of Srila Prabhupada. Now we can't even imagine what that would be like, but at least we can see that it must be good, right? Prithu Dasadikari was saying nicely not so long ago, this gigantic colossus of a temple, that's one man, you know. One man with 40 rupees. Was it 40, 60 rupees? You know, anyway, you know. And he did it. Why? Because he is in Braj Vrindavan. He's not in the material world. You see the footage of him sitting in Thompson Square Park with this, it's not a mridanga, it's some kind of drum, and he's just chanting the holy name. And around him these crazy, weird people are dancing in funny ways, and imagine that, 70 years old, alone in New York, and he just keeps pushing and he does it. We should at least have the hankering to get there, right? Never mind that we're unqualified. Of course we're unqualified, but that doesn't matter, because if we just keep pushing, the mercy will come. That's what the causeless mercy means. Everybody gets it. But the question is, what do you do with it? If you reciprocate with it, that allows for more mercy. If you do nothing, then it stops, of course. You give someone a present and they ignore it, then you're not going to give another present because it's wasted. So if we reciprocate with that mercy by throwing ourselves at Krishna consciousness, at Krishna, and leaving this false ego, then there will be more mercy. So this is why we're reading Bhagavatam and not Mahabharata. Mahabharata is perfect, it's Shastra, but Mahabharata is more along Dharma Shastra, you know, Dharma, Artha, Karma, Moksha. That's the idea, that you have Dharma, you grow up, you learn the rules of this place. Then you have Artha, that is expansion, you expand into family life. This is Artha we're dealing with here, the family and all that. And then you have Kama, desire comes, and you enjoy these facilities. And then you realize, wait a minute, I'm not happy. So then you seek moksha, and then you become a spiritual person. We say, why waste a whole lifetime doing that? You don't know how, I mean, we're already pretty confused. So why are we going this whole D route when we want to get out anyway? Why are we going down to get out? That's no. Any verse in the Bhagavatam is just about pure devotional service. Any topic is just about wherever you are, connected purely to Krishna. Forget about all these hankerings you have, all these material desires. They will not make you happy. There is no happiness. There is a seeming happiness. This is why it says, in this way he feels the happiness of one sometimes feels in a dream. In a dream. It doesn't exist. It's not real. We have an idea that something will make us happy. And that for that 11th of a second that we obtain it, that is, you could call it happiness, but then it just moves back to your situation. You get the Ferrari, now you have a Ferrari, now what? Now the bills have to be paid, you know, insurance. Suddenly you have a ton of new friends that want to drive your Ferrari. It just moves back to your situation and there's nothing in it. That's what we say, that when the sense objects lose touch, when the senses lose touch with the sense objects, the experience is gone like that. Now, when you are able to, through the Bhagavatam, release yourself of the illusion of the Shakti and connect yourself with the illusion of the Shaktiman, that is Krishna, the energetic behind the energy, then you're connected to the source. And it's just the gift that keeps on giving, you know. The mercy flows, the happiness flows unlimitedly. It's said that the soul shines as bright as the sun, but we're so covered that sometimes you can hardly see any light behind the eyes, you know. But as we uncover ourselves, we can see that the life is there. We often get this, that karmis look at us and say that we look young, like Radhanath Swami, he looks like he's 40, I heard someone say, and he's 60 or something. But that's because the light is there. That's the spirit. It's not the body, it's the spirit. And you get someone, maybe late 20s, and they're walking around and they didn't get proper sleep and they were out drinking last weekend, you know. It's like, what, are you 58, you know? This is how we perceive it, because we're not actually seeing the body, we're seeing the soul. That's actually what we're seeing. And the more covered the soul is, the more tired it gets. And the more we're not actually seeing the person. So this is why we're sitting with the Bhagavatam. We don't change it like, oh, we've done some Bhagavatam, let's do something else. No, because this is every situation possible in material existence, and how to get out, how to release ourselves from it. So now we're going through this. This is one of the, you could say, heavier chapters. I'm actually surprised that Gita Nagari Prabhu is not here. He usually likes these kind of things. But many other devotees don't really appreciate these because they can get quite heavy. But the only reason they're heavy is because we look at it wrong. The happiness that we get from family, that is not a problem. The happiness is not a problem. The problem is that we think that it's the family that is giving it. It's Krishna giving it through the family. Any happiness is Krishna giving it through some kind of medium. Now there are good quality and bad quality. Obviously, spiritual activities, chanting and worshipping the deity, listening to the katha about Krishna, this is very, very high quality. It's not dependent on anything. Family is a lesser quality, but it's still there. It's bona fide. Grihastha ashram is a bona fide ashram. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is that when the attachments take us over and we start to think that person is generating my happiness, then we forget Krishna, and then we go down into these lower modes, and it's a long way up. It can take millions of lifetimes. So that's why it's very important, now that we're here, that we take it seriously and that we apply it. We apply the knowledge. That's the difference between a scholar and a devotee. We apply the knowledge. If we don't apply the knowledge, it's dry, it's dead, it's useless. We have to apply it. So we're very fortunate because we're in Mayapur. We're surrounded by devotees and we can see the examples of the self-realized souls. And we should seek out that association, because the principle of iron and fire. What we associate with, we become. And these personalities that come through Mayapur and that reside in Mayapur are very attractive. So we should seek out that association and learn from it, because then it will rub off on us and we will be able to give it to others. And that's the secret. Harisari Prabhu said that, Srila Prabhupada had said to him, you know what the secret is? Preaching is more important than bhajan, because preaching generates bhajan. Bhajan doesn't necessarily generate preaching, but preaching generates bhajan. And there's nothing sweeter than seeing someone take to Krishna consciousness and start having small realizations that you helped bring to the party. That just is so much better than anything you can feel on your own, you know, just by chanting 64 rounds or eating Mahaprasad, which is good, I know, it's good. But seeing that light in someone else's eyes, that's the real nectar. So I think I will end here. I think Tirthakars may have a question he announced. We have 5 minutes left, so okay, anyone else? Comments? Just okay, seniority. Of course, yeah.
It's regarding Shabda and Pratyaksha.
Yeah.
Of course, in the modern culture, they don't recognize this, they don't accept it. But if we investigate, we will see that even on the material plane, Shabda is the most important way of getting knowledge.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't even know 2 and 2 is 4, or how to speak, or how to act if somebody hadn't taught us.
Yeah.
So we can see, both materially and spiritually, Shabda is always the most important way of learning.
It's true. Thank you for that comment.
I just thought I would throw that in.
It's an all-pervasive principle. You can't not have Shabda. You can't run away from it. So even though they say that they do, they actually don't. And yeah, thank you for that. Good point.
I was wondering, you mentioned that this level of pranamaya, that sometimes the activities, they appear like Jnanamaya. Is it true? If I understand correctly, that people, they adopt like some religion, but actually is... Can you explain it?
Yes. I mean, these are, there's a seamless transition between them, because all things are going on at once. It's not like someone on Vijnanamaya doesn't have senses, right? He feels hunger. So they're all going on, but the real question is, where do you take shelter? Of course, that can also be a little blurred. So yes, there is a kind of a gray area. What you would usually connect pranamaya with is stuff like economics, justice, morality, ethics, these things that seem like it seems like dharma, because we should all be happy, but it's all just, maybe people will leave me alone so that I can be happy. It's not actually because I want everybody to be happy, it's just because then I can excuse myself while I enjoy myself. And we can all agree on some rules so that we can all enjoy ourselves. So it can seem like actual religion, but it's not. That's why if we are being heavy, which we sometimes are, we say that any other philosophy in the world, technically it doesn't get beyond pranamaya, because it still has that Purusha Bhav as prominent. Even Buddhism, Mayavadism, which seemingly would be on Vijnanamaya, dealing with the soul, it's only a tool. Dealing with the soul is still only a tool to get to my enjoyment, my Purusha Bhav, to protect that. So the seeming situation where you're in is actually only a secondary to your lovely pranamaya. So in that sense, yes, it can be disguised as many things. Yeah. One more.
You mentioned the idea that I find very intriguing, that we're all feminine.
Yes.
And it's very difficult to preach this to new devotees or people becoming devotees or just hearing about Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
Do you have any suggestions
as
to how that can be done successfully?
Yes.
Because people are often offended that, well, I'm a man and I don't want to be considered feminine.
I would not do it. I would just talk about something else. Give them prasad and harinam and these. This is later.
Okay, so within the scope of now we're later, now we're all here for many years, how do we reconcile the idea that, okay, there's men and they're superior, more intelligent, they should give class, they should do this, they should be the guru and so on, and women who are also spirit souls, but trapped in a less intelligent body, etc. How do we discriminate in such a way as to not, how do you say, minimize the importance of the fair sex, which ultimately we all are?
Yes. Well, we have to distinguish here between tattva on the absolute plane and tattva on the material plane, because being in a material body is illusion, right? So masculine and feminine, it is a twisted understanding already there.
So if they're both illusioned, why do we in our devotional life, in our society, our ISKCON society, our spiritual society, make such a strong discrimination? Some make very, very strong discrimination.
Because we're real. I mean, we're trying to be realistic. We identify with our body, even though we're devotees. We still identify with it. If someone hits me over the hand, I will say, "You hit me." I will not say, "You hit the dead matter that is attached to my through Tatastha Shakti." That's not how we actually work. We are actually in this body. The illusion is how we identify. So a tool has no value on its own except how you use it. So if I say, "I'm not this power drill, so I will use it to clean my ears," I'm going to have a bad time, right? So the fact of the matter is that I'm in a male body, someone else is in a female body. That functions differently. It's very rare we see men getting pregnant. In fact, it's 0%. There's not even like an exception. And in the same way that the way our subtle body is functioning, it's just different. The man, he has 3 rooms. He has the room of the mind, the room of the intelligence, and the room of the false ego. The woman, she has 1 room, and these things are going on in that room. And it works for different purposes. So the man, he can go out of the room of the emotions and into the room of the intelligence. And if he's discussing with a woman, she will be able to change from intelligence to emotion or false ego like that. The man can't do that, so that's why men usually get confused when they're discussing with women. If there's some discussion going on, we don't know what, because we were just in the room of the intelligence, and then suddenly she's talking about, "You don't understand me," and the emotions, and he has to get out of that room and then into the room of the mind where the emotions are. But then she's already on the false ego, and he's thinking, he doesn't know what to do. So it just functions differently. So because of that, there are different activities that are more suited and less suited,
Well, it would seem that if the woman can change gears that quickly, that she's in a superior position.
That's why we say the man is more intelligent, but the woman is more clever. So the man goes out, he gets all the things, he does all the nasty work, and then he comes home and he does exactly what she says. Much easier. This whole idea that man is better than woman, it's just concocted. You won't find it in Bhagavatam.
So why do we discriminate when it comes to higher levels of communication in our society?
Because we are in the material sphere, and in the material sphere, tattva is prominent. Because
if it's a spiritual society, why are we lingering on this material level?
The spiritual society means we're getting out of the material sphere, but we're not out yet, right?
Isn't one way to get out is to sort of practice on a higher level?
No, that's sahaja. That's imitation.
Well, I'm not talking about imitating our rasa with Krishna. I'm just talking about imitating even mundane society, where women are recognized as heads of state and so forth. They're taking a prominent position.
But why would you want to be head of state? See, this is the problem. You identified that as valuable. It's only the connection to Krishna that's valuable. Why do you want to be head of state?
I don't want to be head of state.
I don't either. But if
a woman wants to be head of state and she could do the job, why not let her? That's the question.
Because the feminine nature is more dependent than the masculine nature.
Not in every case. That's the point I'm making, is not in every case do we find women as being recessive, receptive, submissive. It doesn't happen.
The point is that a man is able, because he has these three rooms, he's able to exit the room of the emotions and go into the room of just pure logic and work on that. So if you're head of state, you will be force-fed some very heavy ugra karma. You know, this is just a heavy place to be. Everybody wants to be where you are. It's not, kid gloves are off, you know. And so it's easier for a man to be there because he just shuts off the emotions. The woman can't do that, and she shouldn't do that, because that's not what it's about to be a woman. So if you want to insist that she should do it anyway, fine, that's okay. I'm just saying it's a waste of time because it has no value on its own.
Oh, we see countries like, say, for instance, Germany. Germany lost the Second World War about 70 years ago, and yet they've risen to a position of preeminence in the world in terms of economic development.
Yes.
They've become extremely successful.
Pranamoy.
And the head of their country is a woman. So she must, her cleverness somehow or another has enabled her to deal with the things that you're telling us that only men can deal with.
But is she self-realized? In this way, he feels the happiness one sometimes feels in a dream. But, you know, you're saying they're doing great. They're atheists.
I'm just saying, I'm just talking about their ability to manage. And I think, you know, in ISKCON, we see gurus are selected on their ability to manage.
Yeah.
So if women can do that management,
okay,
why are they prevented?
Let's try a different approach. First of all, I don't have an opinion on this. It doesn't matter what I think. I'm just going by Bhagavatam. So if we accept Bhagavatam as supreme, we should just do whatever we can see in Bhagavatam and try and apply it. Now, if
where does it say in Bhagavatam a woman cannot be guru?
Huh?
Where does it say in Bhagavatam a woman cannot be guru?
How many gurus do you have in Bhagavatam that are women? I'm not saying they can't be. I'm just saying there's a certain way, because a woman would usually be a house guru. She wouldn't be a traveling preacher like the sannyasis that we usually have here in ISKCON. That format is not very suitable for a mataji. Usually the whole idea, see, I have this cloth, this is what I have. At evening I wash it, in the morning I take it on again. That usually doesn't, it's just usually, it's not something that women like. They like to open a closet, have 200 saris and say, I have nothing to wear. I mean, just as a caricature, you know, it's, you know.
That doesn't mean that every one of them is like that.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you want to be head of state, go for it.
I mean, I look at men, I see men here who have, you know, a different shirt every day. You know, they're very, very pukka about their latest...
But they're not gurus as far as I know.
Maybe some of them are. I don't know. I saw one guru here, he had a different shirt on every day. You know, t-shirts, but...
Okay, so we're discussing guru shirts. Okay.
I was saying the similarities don't seem to exclude the female gender from taking on responsibility.
We're not excluding the female gender at all. We're just saying that there are different circumstances that are that work better with the female gender, and other circumstances work better with the male gender.
They have different roles.
Yeah, they have different roles. This is, did we notice something when we were going through these coverings? We were describing actually Varna ashram, right? At the bottom you have the sudra, and the bottom is not in a spiritual sense, it's just in the material way of organizing ourselves. Feet of the sudra, then on the pranamoy economics we have the vaishya, then above that the religious principles, the protection, we have the kshatriya, and then on the vijnana level we have the brahmana, and above that we have the devotee, right, on the anandamoy level. So this is a science. It's not opinion. It's not about do we like women or do we not like women. It's about if you can find your way to position yourself within this system, then the material energy will be at the least amount of trouble. And that's how you get out, because trouble means hankering or lamentation, and that means attachment, and that means the risk that at the time of death you will not be thinking of Krishna. You will be thinking about, should I have pursued that job? So the whole idea that can they be this, can they be that, they're not any of that. I'm not a brahmachari. I'm spirit soul. And I'm in a material body because I have the Purusha Bhav. That's why I have a white bead bag, because I'm trying to remind myself that I'm not a brahmachari. You know? Because if I die thinking I'm a brahmachari, I will take birth as a brahmachari. I don't want that. So this whole idea, see, do you know,
Well,
do you understand what I'm saying?
You just made my point, you know.
No, actually, I didn't.
My point.
Oh, there's like 3 hands going up here. This is the topic I was hoping to avoid. But we're good friends.
I'll stop now.
Okay. You seem very...
I think it can be boiled down to 2 things. That the female principle is Prakriti, and Prakriti is passive, and the Purusha principle is active. So our misunderstanding is that we are the Purusha, we are active, but actually we are spiritual, we are all Prakriti, meaning we are being passive. And the difference between passive and active is that the passive is being enjoyed, and the active is the enjoyer.
Yes.
So actually there's only one enjoyer, and that's Krishna. Yes. So we are all passive female in that sense.
Yes.
But in different bodies we take on the Purusha, like you explained so nicely.
I just want to say my wife is about 10 times more active than I am. So
maybe that's why this is an issue for you. Okay, we have a couple of hands down there.
Hi Krishna.
Oh, yeah, please.
Nothing, but we find that in some description that in the mat.
I have no idea what you're saying.
I get some will recite that sloka every day, you will get that material benefit in Bhagavatam. That is given. The materialist gain you can get after reading Bhagavatam also.
No, of course you can get spirit. I mean, any benefit you get is from spiritual activities. So if you want material benefit, you have to do some kind of spiritual activity or use your pious credits anyway. So, but the point of Bhagavatam is not material benefit. It's just what happens. You see, many of these stories are dealing with emperors of the world. You know, but it's not about the world or the emperor, the empire. It's about how does this person get out? You know, how does he get away from it? So
follow Shruti. After hearing that recitation, you will get that material from the Bhagavatam also.
Yeah, so we're just describing what happens. But you're the one who puts value on it. Oh, that I get that. Oh, that's no. But then what's the problem? It's just something that happens. You know. If you turn on the faucet, the water comes out. Doesn't mean I'm a materialist. You know, if I wash myself because I want to go see Krishna, then it's connected to Krishna and it's spiritual. If I wash myself because I wanted to go to the club and pick up some nice ladies, then it's material. So the water is not the issue. See, that's the problem with the Purusha Bhav, that we think that it's the thing that's generating the taste. So Bhagavatam is describing so many things with the external energy, but it's not material because it's all connected back to God, and it's all with the flavor that only pure devotional service has any value. So being head of state or the emperor of the world in a female or a male body, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So whatever you get, if you can use that to get out, great. If you can't, just leave it alone. And if you have hankering for being a guru, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, you're not qualified. Because that will just bind you to this material sphere, and you will take birth again. And how are you going to take anyone back to Godhead if you're not going yourself? That's the point.
I was just going to comment on what Ganagyamya was saying, and it strikes me that when I'm in America, I see how women are dressed like men. They dress very masculine, and they think very masculine. They want to take masculine roles. They want to be leaders in society. So you even see women taking male hormones and men taking female hormones. So then you see a lot of women acting like men and wanting to take like on a male role. So I think that's where all the problem is.
It's really messed up. I just saw recently that this thing, Facebook, now you can pick between 58 different genders. I don't know what that is. I have no idea, but you can be all sorts of things now, and I don't know. I'm not on it, so I don't know. But it's just, what's going on? Why do we have this idea? Of course, it's the Purusha Bhav. I want to control who I am. I want to control what's going on around me, and that is ultimately what binds us. So that's why we're here. So, yeah. So.
It seems to happen when there's a lot of suppression of women, and then they get tired of being suppressed, pushed down, put down.
Definitely.
Then they rebel and they want to take the man's role.
Of course. It is the men's fault, because the men are not doing their duty of protecting the women and giving them the facility to function. So then what does the woman do? I mean, then she has to take matters into her own hand. It's a completely natural, perfectly logical reaction to the whole society being degraded. That there's no, see, it used to be that we had extended families that were living many families together, and now after like Second World War, suddenly everybody is living in one family units. So the man goes up to work. What's the woman gonna do there? She's just alone the whole day. That's not gonna work. Woman needs variety and some interaction and this, and of course she should have. So then she needs to go out on the job market, and also because the hankering for material things has grown to an extent where they need two incomes. So now the kids suffer. See, first the man was not doing his duty, then the reaction is that the man and the woman is not doing their duty, so now the kids suffer. He's stuck with an iPad, and the whole family structure breaks down. In Denmark now, that's where I'm from, so I just know the numbers from Denmark, that it's like flipping a coin getting married. It's just 50-50 if you make it. Half of those who say, "Till death do us part," they end up figuring out, nah, well, it's not really cool. So the whole structure of society is just, it's breaking down. And it's not the woman's fault, it's actually the man's fault, because if the man is superior, as we say, then he's also responsible. That goes together, That's the responsibility and the control, that goes together, So if you want control, you have to take responsibility. That's just logic. We talk a lot about freedom in the West. Nobody talks about responsibility. Oh, it's my right. I have the right to do this, to do that. Nobody ever talks about responsibilities. I have the responsibility to pay my taxes. I have to, Nobody says, I pay my taxes because it's my God-given right as a citizen of this country. We don't hear that. We just hear me, me, me. That's the material Purusha Bhav result. That's the end result of the Purusha Bhav. And that's why it's all breaking down.
The women are being trained to be independent, to have their own careers. So it's society is training them not to be submissive, not to be a housewife. A housewife is looked down upon in Western countries. And if you have a job, you have a career, you have a social position, then the women are looked highly upon.
Two things. First of all, I totally agree. First of all, there is no such thing as independent. This is a total illusion brought on by materialistic consciousness. There is no thing called independence. There is, what are you dependent on? Are you dependent on Krishna, or are you dependent on the modes of material nature? So this whole idea we will be independent, it never existed, it never will. And then the second thing, which you so rightly state, that it's about social position. But social position has always been the prerogative of the woman. If you see these gigantic balls and stuff like that. All the men, they come in exactly the same suit with a bow tie and stuff like that. The women are dressed like, and it's all about the women. Everything in the social sphere is about the woman. It should be. Now, of course, with the 58 different genders, who knows what's going on, you know. But the woman is getting all that from the social scene without, you don't have to be head of state or something like that. That has nothing to do with that. That is just a place where you get beaten up. That's what it means to be a politician. Everybody is just gunning for you, you know. So, because everything has been kind of mixed up, it seems like the only way out is independence. I must be more in control. But that was what we were saying before. That's the illusion. What got us in, that's what we think will get us out. But that just gets us even more entangled. And then the whole thing crashes like that. So the good news is that you only have to think about yourself in this matter. Because if you are able to leave this Purusha Bhav with the aid of some chanting and some sincerity, then everybody else will be attracted to you because you will be peaceful. And that's what people need, because in this world with 58 genders, people are just stressed out like anything. Nobody knows who they are, what am I doing, you know. We want the respect of the Brahmanas, we want the facilities of the Kshatriyas, no, the influence of the Kshatriyas, the facilities of the Vaishyas, and the lack of responsibility of the Sudras. You know, but we can't get all these things because we're not God. That's basically what it comes down to. So, if we can just take a step back and become a little shanti by chanting and by doing some spiritual activities, then we will see that this actually doesn't affect me. It may affect my conditioning, but it doesn't affect me. Does that make sense? That we don't have to change the whole society. We can just say, okay, I'm not. That's why when people talk management to me, I just run for the hills. And in Mayapur, the hills are a long way away, so I'm gone, you know. I just won't. Luckily, it has to be done, and I totally respect those who do it, and luckily we're in a situation where we have some devotees who are willing to do that, and I think are actually doing quite well, but I'm very happy I'm not one of them. That's just my personal conditioning, you know. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. I think intellectually speaking, that was as invigorating a class as I've heard in a long time. So thank you very much. And there's many points that I wouldn't mind discussing, but I'll keep one question, and I think it's very simple. You said Maya is 4 times as strong as the living entity. You said it a couple of times, and I never heard that. So do you mind sharing the reference so that I can use it?
Actually, unfortunately, I have this from Bhaktivedanta Purna Swami. I'm not sure about the Praman. I can check it out for you and get back to you. Yeah. Of course, yeah. Okay, Masaji?
I'm going to change the topic from male-female because we can go on for this ever. And I've had many discussions with Maharaj on this, specifically about the role of women in our society. But anyway, I'll just change the topic. You had mentioned that we're actually performing high sadhana, hyper, in terms of getting up and chanting our rounds compared to so many other people of other faiths. So my question is, and you also described a situation of a person who is satisfied and thinks, yeah, I'm doing great, you know, I'm satisfied, which is the binding force of the motive of goodness. He's bound by a sense of happiness and a sense of knowledge. So my question is, as devotees, and specifically living here in Mayapur Dham, we can also become very complacent and think, I'm doing great, I'm living in the Dham, I'm doing some service, I get up in the morning, I come to the program, I chant my rounds. So a sense of complacency and apathy can also develop. So what would you suggest as a solution so we don't become complacent? You said we must at least have a hankering. Can you give some practical tips and suggestions how to develop that hankering and to get over that apathy and complacency?
That's a very good question. It's something that seems to happen here in Mayapur, that sometimes you get devotees and they kind of almost fall through the cracks. Suddenly you realize, I haven't seen this devotee in 2 months, and and it's just, apathy, complacency has set in. I've been wondering about that myself. It's a difficult thing because on one level, this is the spiritual world, so you are doing good if you're here. You wouldn't be here without the blessings of Mahaprabhu. But it's also sometimes almost as if it's a little too merciful, you know, because at least I'm from a Western background. My motivation usually comes from passion rather than goodness, because that's just my conditioning. So you can walk around here and float a little bit on the surface of the Dham, and suddenly that one day takes the next, and I don't know, because on one level, if you are getting up for Mangalaharati, you're chanting your rounds early in the day, maybe you're even attending the Bhagavatam class, you're only eating prasad, and you're doing some seva here in the Dham, that's pretty good. I mean, that is pretty good. But if you're starting to slip, and you're starting to not get up, and you're starting, then of course that's a problem. Maybe it's actually an issue for all of us to be a little more aware of someone maybe in a little fading out, or what is happening. I knew one devotee who was here, he just left, and suddenly I realized it had been over a month he hadn't been to Mangalaharati, and I just hadn't, because there's like 500 devotees at Mangalaharati, so I didn't think about it. But then suddenly, oh wait a minute, and he was actually going through a little bit of a rough time. And it's just there's devotees everywhere, so you don't really notice so much. In a small temple, he'd be like 20% of the guys at Mangalaharati were missing if one is out. So everybody notices, so they will come and say, Haribol Prabhu, are you okay? And yeah, that's something that we have to be very aware of here, because it is so easy. You know, it's like the blades of grass are chanting, so it's very easy to be here. It's very little ugra karma going on. I feel it when I go to the West to preach. It's like a fist in the face when I land in the airport. The heavy consciousness is just, but here you can just, you know, it's very, very nice. Every step is a dance and every word is a song.
So even though you're saying we're doing pretty good if we, you know, attend the morning program and chant our rounds, but that's precisely what makes us complacent and take the mercy for granted, because the mercy is overflowing here.
Yes, but it's also a matter of what consciousness are we doing it in, because it can become kind of like an automatic thing. Maybe you're thinking about so many things. My Guru Maharaj usually uses this example. Govindam Adipurusham, what is for breakfast today? You know, so are we really there? You know, are we attending Mangalaharati, or is our body just standing there? Are we chanting Hare Krishna, or are the lips just moving? We have to be conscious of it also. So if we just slip into this kind of mode of goodness, and we're not actually really there, then it'll go the other way. Then it'll drag us down very slowly and subtly, but it's gonna happen. So yeah, it's a tough one. I won't pretend that I have kind of like the easy answer to this, but
can we open it up?
Yeah,
and maybe some senior devotees can
please
give us some advice.
Or
Hare Krishna. In the Navadip Mahatmya, then Nityananda Prabhu was telling Jiva Goswami that even one lives in the Dham and he's chanting Hare Krishna and he looks like a devotee and everything. If he hasn't entered into the relationship with Lord Chaitanya in his heart, and he's simply living on the surface. So our consciousness should be here, that everyone who's here, that we should be conscious that all of our activities are being done to expand the satisfaction of Mahaprabhu. That should be our consciousness. Otherwise, we're not going to enter into a relationship with Lord Chaitanya in the heart. So that's the sambandha. When that's established, then 99% of all the questions we're asking, you won't need to ask.
Yeah, that's very good. Thank you so much. And also, like you were talking about the Sambandha, my Guru Maharaj is Kadamba Kanana Swami. He's very much on the Abhideya. So he says, just say yes to the devotees. Whatever they ask of you, whatever they suggest, just say yes to them. And so there are numerous abilities to serve. Recently we had the Jagannath Mishra feast, and I was inspired by one devotee to go and serve there. It's just, you know, an hour out of your day and you go and serve, and it was very, very nectarian. I didn't have to do it. Not many did, because it's just a thing you don't have to do. Someone else would do it if you don't do it. But do those things. That's something I often get a lot of taste out of. I'm studying a lot. So these menial service, serving prasad, cleaning something, that actually gives me a lot of taste. It doesn't have to be a big thing, you know. It's just some small thing where you're active for Mahaprabhu and for the devotees. That can give a lot of taste actually, and I can still derive taste from that 1 hour a couple of weeks ago. So keep active. Okay, we keep going. Tirthakar Prabhu. Then after that we have one Prabhu here in the back.
With your permission, I would like to just add something to that question.
Yeah, of course.
Sacrifice yourself for others. That will help you to go out of this complacement.
Yes.
I just read yesterday, Prabhupada said that only highly elevated devotees are always meditating how to help others to become Krishna conscious. So that's...
Yes. There is actually only sacrifice. The question is, are you doing it willingly or unwillingly? So if you want the good results, you do it willingly. That's why the advanced devotees, they're always contemplating this, because they know this is how it works. Less advanced, they have to be pushed sometimes, and so sometimes we're pushed. It's one Prabhu here. He's...
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Have you quoted one verse from Bhagavad Gita, 5 coverings?
No, it's not the verse. It's Bhagavad Gita 13:5. 13:5. I honestly forget the verse. Anyone remember the verse now? No. Anyways, it's in the Purport. Prabhupada is describing these pancha kosha. It's the 5 coverings of 5 levels of Brahman realization. You can say he describes it like that. So. Yes, exactly. Yes. One Prabhu here. Haribol. No, behind you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
In the beginning of the class, you explained how the soul. How the soul of its ego. I think you are.
I didn't get that. Did anyone get that?
Hare Krishna. Yeah. How the soul, because of its false ego, it got the gross body and senses and all.
How the soul gets connected with false ego, or the soul and false ego. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
The soul has an inherent potential of false ego, because that's the only way to qualify love of God, if there is an alternative. So if you take the pradhan, where you just have the effulgence of the Lord, and you add the jiva and some false ego, then you get the spirit soul and some false ego, then you get the jiva, the conditioned soul. So that means that instead of identifying as servant of Krishna, the jiva is now identifying with the existence of that effulgence. Now that agitates the effulgence, so the elements separate. You get Mahat Tattva. So that is all the material elements false ego, intelligence, mind, ether, air, fire, water, earth, the senses, and so on. And then that, it gets complicated. Mahavishnu glances, that glance is Sadashiva. The glance touching the pradhan, that's Shambhu. And then you have the primary creation. The secondary creation is when Brahma, the four-headed guy, starts to arrange these things into actual manifestations. And then you have the jiva enjoying this, this forest of enjoyment. And that, as you go into the heavier and heavier material elements, it's just, the only thing that happens is you add false ego. More false ego, and then in the end you get earth, and that's why we're actually stuck to this earth. There's so much false ego that we're physically attracted to it, you know. Intelligence, you're attracted to it, but on a subtle level. You know, you want to get near it, but here we're actually sitting on the earth because there's just so much false ego that we're just stuck to it. So that's how that works. I don't know, does that give some kind of answer?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, it's almost the same thing.
Okay.
And secondly, I just, whether the desires originated in the mind or in the spirit soul itself. Desires come from where?
I don't catch that. Okay, so the desire is in the soul. The soul has desire. We are eternal, and we are active, and we are blissful. That is the three characteristics of the soul. So without the false ego, the desire is to serve Krishna, because the identification is as servant. But with the false ego, it gets reversed. The desire is to serve myself, because we identify with the covering instead of the principle behind the covering. So that's what starts the whole party, that the desire is pointing in the wrong direction. So actually all we have is desire. All this that's going on, my hands moving now, that's Paramatma doing all these things. I'm not doing that. I can't do anything. All I can do is desire. And then based on my karma, my piety, things will either happen the way I like it, or they will not happen the way I like it. Like if someone has gone to the gym for years, he will be able to run or lift very heavy weights. If I go to the gym, I will not, because I don't have the karma for it. I haven't developed that karma. So in the same way with the subtle things, if you study, you will be able to use that. It's just the way, the only thing we have is the desire. So the activities are the same. The only thing is, what is the desire? Is it to please myself, or is it to please Krishna? That's actually what everything boils down to.
Yeah. The desires are...
Can we talk after this? Because it seems like you have something you would like to discuss. So maybe it's better that we just talk a little after this?
Yeah.
Because it goes on.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Rantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Nitai.